friends, and welcome to the Unhealthy Podcast. I'm Uncle Marv, and each week I scan the headlines for stories about health, wellness, and the habits that might be making our lives just a little more unhealthy. I'll share some stories, talk about what they mean, and then ask the most important question, what can we do to fix it? So with that in mind, let's get into this week's stories. This first one hits close to home for anyone over 35 who lives at a desk. A major news study by UT Health Houston, published in the journal Nature Health, found that about 1 in 3 adults worldwide still is not hitting the basic World Health Organization guideline of 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. Researchers looked at data and policies from 218 countries and found that 92% have at least one policy about physical activity, but actual behavior has barely changed in 20 years. So we've written the memos, printed the posters, launched the campaigns, and a huge chunk of adults is still not moving enough to protect their hearts, brains, and waistlines. So what does this mean for you? Well, the bar is actually lower than you think. You are talking roughly 21 to 22 minutes of moderate movement a day to hit that WHO baseline. So for busy midlife adults, that could be a brisk walk after dinner, plus a few phone calls standing instead of sitting. The big message here, stop waiting for the perfect 60-minute workout. Start stacking small bouts of movement into your day and let those add up over time. Let's move to everyone's favorite aisle, the boxes, bags, and drive-through windows. A new analysis of nearly 4,800 U.S. adults found that people eating the most ultra-processed foods, that means packaged snacks, frozen meals, and sugary drinks, had a 47% higher risk of cardiovascular disease than those eating the least. Researchers used National Nutrition Survey data from 2021 to 2023 and grouped people based on how much of their daily calories came from ultra-processed foods, then matched that to self-reported histories of heart attack or stroke. This is not fringe stuff. It is a large, nationally representative study using a standard food classification system. In the bottom line, our convenience diet is showing up in our arteries in a very real way. So if most of what you eat comes in a box, bag, or drive-through container, your heart risk may be a lot higher than you think. A simple starting move would be swap just one ultra-processed item a day, like chips or frozen pizza, for something minimally processed such as nuts, yogurt, or an actual cooked meal. If you have ever said, "I'm low carb, I'm good," then this one is for you. A big Harvard-led analysis found that both low carb and low fat diets only help your heart when they are built from high-quality foods. Those include whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. When people followed unhealthy versions of those diets, and they relied heavily on refined carbs, processed meats, and animal fats, their risk of coronary heart disease actually went up. The study tracked nearly 200,000 participants over decades and scored their diets as healthy or unhealthy within the low-carb and low-fat categories. So slapping a low-carb label on a plate of bacon and cheese does not magically make it heart-friendly. Before you brag about being low-carb or low-fat, look at what is actually on your plate. Build your macros around plants, whole foods, and healthier fats, instead of using the diet label as permission to load up on ultra-processed junk. Now let's zoom out to a little broader neighborhood. A new report from the Pan American Health Organization says unhealthy diets are linked to more than 1 million premature deaths every year in the Americas. The report zeroes in on ultra-processed foods, sugary drinks, salty snacks, and high-fat packaged products that dominate supermarket shelves. One of the main solutions they highlight is front-of-package warning labels that clearly flag products high in sugar, salt, or unhealthy fats, labels that several countries in the region have already rolled out. The Pan American Health Organization's message is blunt. If we do not change how unhealthy products are labeled, marketed, and sold, we are not going to move the needle on obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. So next time a package needs a whole marketing campaign to convince you it is healthy, flip it over and read the label. Expect to see more black box or stop sign style warnings on foods in our part of the world, and use those as a quick shorthand to dial back the worst offenders. Here's a classic "we know it's bad, but we do not really know why" story. A recent national survey found big gaps in what Americans understand about unhealthy cholesterol, especially LDL, the bad kind that clogs arteries. Many people did not know their target numbers, were not sure which foods really raise LDL, and underestimated how much high LDL boosts their risk of heart attack and stroke. The survey, reported by Health Day and U.S. News, also suggests that even people on cholesterol meds may not fully understand why they are taking them or how lifestyle changes fit in. But the details are still fuzzy for a lot of us folks over 40. If you do not know your latest LDL number, you are flying blind. At your next doctor's visit, ask your provider 3 simple questions. What's my LDL? What should it be? And what are the top 2 things I can change to lower it? And finally, here is where unhealthy meets the courtroom. A series of lawsuits is now targeting major ultra-processed food manufacturers, accusing them of engineering products to be addictive while downplaying the health risk. The complaints cite research showing that roughly 71% of products in some categories qualify as ultra-processed and often contain additives like flavor enhancers, thickeners, and emulsifiers. Plaintiffs argue that these foods drive inflammation, disrupt normal metabolism, and contribute to conditions like type 2 diabetes and fatty liver disease, especially in kids and teens. Some advocates are even calling for ultra-processed foods to be regulated more like tobacco, with warning labels, marketing limits, and bans in schools and hospitals. If a food seems designed so you can't stop, won't stop eating it, you know what they are: chips, cookies, frozen treats. That is usually not an accident. You do not have to quit everything, but treating ultra-processed snacks as occasional treats instead of daily staples can pay off in a big way over the next decade. Well, that's a wrap for today. If today's stories helped you think a little differently about your health, then we are doing exactly what this show is meant to do. And until next time, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and remember to live healthy and be happy.